Right guys, welcome back to the shed. Saturday morning again. Just more of a little blog this time. A few thank yous, and I bought a few more pieces of equipment for the workshop. Just wanted to give you my initial impression of what I got. First of all, big thank you for the shirt from Tom Noble. A nice little sticker to go on the toolbox, all the way from the States. Been waiting for this for quite a long time. I've been a member of the YouTube Garage for probably about 5-6 years, one of the original members on the YouTube Garage. So we're very grateful that Thomas sent the shirt over. All names on the back of other people also in the YouTube Garage. So thanks Tom, great. Right, back to equipment then. I bought 2 new pieces of equipment. When you're doing dents, when you're doing filling, we have what I consider a maximum thickness build of filler, which is about 1/4 inch. Anything more than that and you stand the risk of it not being stable, becoming brittle, falling out. But the other point is, if you've got a dent 1/4 inch thick or deeper, there's going to be a lot of stretch in that metal. So to get your shape, it's going to be distorted awfully around the outside of the dent. When you've got a dent, when you push something in at the middle, the metal stays the same surface area, it just moves. So when you've got an innie, you've actually got an outie around the dent. So if you're trying to fill a dent more than 1/4 inch, that outie will be so distorted that you won't fill it without making a big bloated dome over the whole area. So the only way to do a dent properly is to pull out the dent first and reduce that dent as much as you can. So I found on eBay, lots of places selling them, a great little spot welder puller made by Powertech. It's quite a comprehensive kit. Comes with a full package of consumables. Quite heavy, I think it's about 5 kilos in weight, so it's obviously well made. Single phase, over here in the UK plug. This, through different nozzles and attachments, you can apply to the panel work either copper studs, standard washers, copper washers. They're plated but they are copper inside, or little flags. With all the consumables, you insert them into the end of the gun through whichever nozzle type you use. So say for instance this is a copper nozzle, you can see in the middle is a hole in the middle. That goes into the end of the gun, and you stick a stud into that, push that up to the panel so that the earthing side of the jewels touch bare metal obviously. When it's in place, you pull the trigger. Once you pull the trigger, you can regulate with the trigger how long a weld you put onto it. You can put a little quick burst if it's probably thin steel. If it's somewhere that's a bit thicker and you're going to want to give a good pull to, you can leave it a little bit longer. And that's it. With these tags, with these type of tags, if you were pulling out a, say for instance, a line on the car, you've got a crease line, say through a wing, through a door, the impact's been in there, you can load these up across that line, exactly on the line, a series of however long you want, and that's the head for spot welding those in place. That fits in the gun like so, zaps on. Once you've got a series of them, you can put something straight, like a straight screwdriver or a piece of steel, straight through the row that you've got, and it comes with this little finger claw. This little finger claw will grip the line of these studs, and you can either put a steady pull on there with an arm, or as with this one, you get a little slide hammer. You can take this piece off, which pulls the standard nail type studs. This then screws on there, and then you can give that a tug. So you can pull out a crease, a purpose crease on a panel in a nice straight line, and they work rather well. The other thing why I chose this kit, my first comment, if you've got quite a large dent over a big area and you pull it out, there's a good chance with the metal being stretched. With it being stretched, you get what's called a tin can effect. If you push the metal, it will pant in and out, so you'll see the panel be unstable. It won't hold the shape, it will just keep pinging and popping back into place. With this gun, it's got a shrinking attachment. I'll just show you a shrinking attachment. Just a plain round dome insert. Put that in the gun as normal. Put that into your area that is stretched. Pull a trigger, and it will create a hot spot, about a 1.5 centimeter hot spot. Once again, you can regulate how hot you want it, and what you do then with an ordinary cotton cloth in a bucket of cold water, warm it up, quench it quick. Now you can do that in a series of loads of different places. Warm it up, quench it, warm it up, quench it, and that will shrink your metal and stop it panting, so you'll no longer have a panting panel. So it'll work great for that as well. The other thing that it has got is this tip, which is like a large screwdriver type end. Going back to the finger jaws, whether you can see the definition of this through the camera, it's got, for want of a better term, a wiggly wire. You see this wiggly wire? All it is about 8 inches of nice copper wiggly wire. What you do with this, you put this insert into the gun and then hold this, that's better, hold this then in the grooves, and once again, if you're pulling out a straight line, a curved edge of a wheel arch, you can spot weld this, zap, 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 all the way around, and then this finger again is the exact space into the grooves on that wiggly wire, as you can see. So that will pull out a panel, a straight line, whatever you need it to. Anything that wants pulling out, that will do. And then what you do after, you put the easiest way of doing it is a wide bladed mole grips, vice grips, and just wiggle it off. And sometimes these can be used again, even though they're quite cheap to just buy a new one. It's quite cheap to use again. So I was quite pleased with this. We were about, I think it was about £225, I think, off eBay was the best that I found him. There's plenty more out there. They range, as I say, from £220 up to about £400, but at the moment there's 2 or 3 companies out there doing them for about £220. So that was great, and that was free postage and that as well. Right, so that's about sums up that one. The second tool I bought, although I haven't paid for it yet, I've just got it on a demo because it wasn't quite what I was looking for to start with. If I show you my original one, a little 90-degree angled DA sander. This little tool works rather great if you're just doing small repairs, mainly things like rims of alloy wheels, things like that. because of its physical size, you can reduce the size of the repair you're doing. As I've said before, all smart repairs, the idea is to keep everything as small as you can. There's no way that you want to try and put a big 5-6 inch DA sander on a wheel rim and end up having 10 inches of wheel rim to paint. If you can locate just a little mark on the rim and feather it out sufficiently in a small enough area, these little sanders, just detail sanders, are great. I know this might sound silly. This sander works fantastic, but the noise it creates is absolutely horrendous. So at the moment I've fitted a different type of fitting, and it's actually a piece of rubber off a steering track rod end, a little gaiter, over the hole where the air is exhausted out, and that sort of quietens it down. But yeah, it was a good sander, it works well, but the noise was horrendous. So the new type of sander that I wanted to get was a bit more delicate, a bit quieter, something that I could control finer detail. So I bought this. I believe they're made from the States. An Aircat. This one is the 6320K spot sander kit. I was well impressed with this. Not so the price, it's quite expensive. Much the same looking sander. Very quiet, very civilized. A very tiny 2mm or so orbit. It's a very tiny orbit. That is the largest pad that we have. We have a triangular pad. We have a very, very small little round circular pad. And with these we can use them for mopping through lamb's wool bonnets. We can use them for the sponges. So we can use these for polishing and denimming out just a very small little imperfection, little particle of dust maybe in your paint. So you can start off, I think it starts at about 400 grit up to about 2000 grit in little tiny pads. That pad, I'll just show you. The little pad just spins on, nice little thread. The very fine, ultra fine Velcro disc can go on there as well. I'll just show you because it works absolutely a dream. Let's pull up airline from there. The actual oscillation of this is very, very, very tiny. It's hardly buffing my finger. It's that fine. Beautiful tool, beautiful tool. This would mainly be used for, like I say, little piece of imperfection. If you've got little piece of crud, little piece of dirt in your bonnet, your wing, or anywhere on the car, really, it doesn't really matter, and you've just got one or two little bits and you want to localize that repair, there's no point making the repair sanding down something with some wet and dry and creating an area 2 inches big that ends up you've got to polish that back out to lose it. You can keep this tiny. So once again with that you can either put a little polishing mop on and just mop that tiny little area, or with the bigger mop, with the bigger end you can actually go up to 2 inch sort of size. And for aggressive initial buffing, lamb's wool. Lamb's wool is very coarse, does a great job just to do the initial buffing and then finishing off with a finer pad. One advantage I'm thinking of with this, that I've not tried it yet, I've done some colour sanding and buffing around things like louvers. Right in the end of louvers, it's very tight to get anything in without creating a groove in a louver. So I'm hoping, and I've yet to try it, this little triangle pad, very tiny little pad, medium density, quite on the soft side of a medium density, that also goes in the pad, in the machine, sorry. And that holds its position. It doesn't oscillate round and round. Once it's in there, that position is where it stays. Yes, it does your little vibration, but it doesn't oscillate madly like my old one, like that one. So you can actually control that into a very tight corner, and it will stay there in the corner. It will just take out a little bit of dirt or grit. So I'm hoping that that will be very useful as well. This kit, as I say, quality point of view, extremely good. A little bit on the pricey side, but as I've always said, you get what you pay for. This kit I think was £165 with the consumables, so actually the gun is probably only worth probably £100 of that. So if you wanted to get just the gun without the kit, you can, but this one came in as a full kit. So as I say, very impressed with that. I've just tested it on sanding a few little tiny things and it works extremely fine. So that would be a sander for painted finishes, just to dean about, just to get little marks and imperfections out of. Possibly a run. The medium density pads are hard enough that if you had a tiny little run, you could initially take out the bulk of the run with that before going down to your blocks to get the rest of it out. So that was it today, more of just a little blog rather than any more painting demonstrations. I've got a few things in the pipeline, as I've said before. I've got a full program of body repairs, welding, which will probably be my next one. I'm probably going to go, how I'm going to stage these now, I'm going to start off with a rusty panel and take you right through to the finish. So this rusty panel, we will be cutting out the rusted section. We will be fabricating a piece of steel into that section. We'll be using a joggler. We'll be using spot welding. There'll be different types of spot welding. There'll be plug welding with a timer on the MIG welder, an ordinary spot welder. There will be butt welding, all sorts of things like that to put your shape back into a car. There'll be hammer welding so that you can tack with your MIG welder a complete line, hammer weld it all the way around so you get a nice finish, linishing that off, then going on to your priming, your filling, all that type of stuff, right through to painting. So I'm just hanging around just to get a panel, because obviously here in the workshop where I'm doing my demonstrations, I'll try and on a proper panel stand rig up a fender or a wing or something like that, and show